Welcome back to Sci-Fi Bricks. Today, I'm going to be showing you one of my favorite builds, one of my most challenging builds, and one of my most detailed builds. And that is the Battlestar Galactica. All right, let's check it out. Now, Galactica took me a long time to build. It took me a couple of months. And the reason for that is that I wanted the details to be absolutely perfect. I actually rebuilt most parts of this ship around 5 or 6 times. This front part here, it was so hard to get the shape just right. And you can see here, I've used a snot technique to curve the panels around. If we lift up these panels, you can see that it's actually just a panel sitting on the outside here. Then we come through to the middle section. Now the middle section doesn't look too hard, but it actually was, because I wanted the proportions to be exactly right. I actually built the entire central section and then pulled it apart and started over because I wanted it to be 2 studs wider. The reason for that, again, was to get the proportions perfect. You can see the details of the guns here and the details of the guns here. There are also details inside here, and of course we've got the flight pods. I will show you those details soon. And then we come to the engines at the back of the ship. Now these engines were again quite challenging. The top is slopes, but underneath is a snot technique with slope pieces on it as well. Pretty much all of Galactica uses snot. The front sections here, these panels here, which you can see are a snot technique, these panels here, the flight pods, and the engines. I've decided that it was going to be a bit too hard to make the flight pods retract, but I did want it to look just right. So I made sure that this section here looks like it can fit the flight pod. Let's go into some more detail. Let's start with the back of the ship. So you can see the engines here. We've got the 4 engines and we've got the middle bit here. Now, if I tip this back a little bit, you can see there's also a lot of detail here, which was so much fun to put together. All right, let's look a bit more closely at the flight pods. So the flight pods here were painstaking to put together. The shape was so hard to get just right, and I had to use a lot of snot pieces. Now I'm going to pull it apart a little bit and probably break it to show you how I did it. These panels here, it's just an angle piece using a hinge underneath, and it sits on a 1x1 plate. I'm not even going to put that back on. All right, now let's go to the front. So as you can see, this looks and feels like the Galactica, which is exactly what I was going for. I've got the detail at the front, and I've got more underneath, and I've got the shape just right. Now, what I love most about this mock is I decided to have the detail underneath as well. It was a lot more challenging, but I'm really happy with the result. Let's have a look. Okay, so we can see here, the detail runs right along underneath. We've got some nice slope pieces here, and on the inside, we've got guns underneath. We've even got the red Colonial insignia, and we've got the details on the engines. And then right down at the front, you can see the details here too. You can see this section here. It was really fun putting those details together, and I feel like it looks and feels like a proper Battlestar. Now, the best part about Galactica is that it's the start of a much bigger project. And that project is the Colonial Fleet. My plan is to build around 20 of the main iconic ships from the Colonial Fleet to scale with Galactica. And that includes Pegasus. And the Battlestar Pegasus is about 30 to 40% bigger than Galactica. So that means my Pegasus build will be huge. So I'm really looking forward to that. Before I end the video, I'm going to show you the first ship I built from the fleet. Have a look at Colonial One. Now, Colonial One should actually fit inside a flight pod of Galactica. But the thing is, I wanted to be able to have a bit more detail on my Colonial Fleet. So it is only to approximate scale. So have a look at Colonial One. We've got our engines here. We've got, to be honest, I don't know what these are, but they're part of the ship. And we've got the front of the ship here. This one was also quite painstaking to build, but I'm really happy with the end result. Make sure you jump onto my website and my social media, where I've got lots more pictures of this build. Thank you so much for watching this week's video. I hope you enjoyed it. Please comment below what ships from the Colonial Fleet you'd like to see me build. And please, give my video a like and subscribe to my channel. Next week, we're going back to the iconic Stargate SG-1, and I've got 2 builds to show you, the Stargate and the Prometheus. See you next week.